Hello and welcome to my set review of Oshi No Ko Vol.2. This releases this week in English and is a strong metagame contender, so I felt like it was right to delve into this set a bit. To make this easier to fully digest, the cards mentioned today will just be the cards I believe are cards to look into or are heavily playable, and then some honorable mentions at the end that could be, fringe playable or hold a specific purpose. I am not saying that the rest of the set is unplayable by any means, but we'll leave those up to you to test out and try out for yourselves. First, we will break down the playables by their three colors, yellow, red, and blue, then followed by the honorable mentions, with some starter deck lists at the end. Hope you enjoy, and let's get into it. First in yellow, I would like to mention that most of these cards will probably see most of their play within 8 choice chords due to the power of the level 2 Memcho and the level 3 Kana from set 1. The Kana level 0 is a nice recursion piece early game and can also pseudo-protect itself to hopefully use it once again. Overall, I think this card is a fairly good one and could see play in most other cores as well. The big one for me is the Memcho level 1 combo. Not only is Memcho my favorite character of the series, but this also is a fairly great card overall. Being a +3 engine has always been pretty good, as we've seen in Quince and Bocchi the Rock, so Oshi No Ko getting one here I think really helps 8 choice substantially. Moving on to the level 0 Memcho, it being a cost 0 spawner from Graveyard is fairly decent. I will say I personally think this card isn't very necessary at the moment to shove into any specific 8 choice core or anything, but I do think this has a home at least somewhere else for sure. Next we have another level 0 Memcho. A repeatable drop surge for the cost of resting herself feels pretty good overall. This was a card I had initially in my list until I swapped it for the level 0 Kana PR from set 1. I do think this card is good for what it is and think it will see some play for sure. The 1-0 Memcho is a level 2 Slayer and a level swap ability on placement. With any deck requiring experience of some kind, having access to this effect is also really good, especially if you have to level something you don't want to or just so you can ensure you meet the requirements, for example. I don't think this card is more than a 1 or 2 of ever, but is a near guarantee inclusion into those experience heavy decks. This level 1 Ruby, at first I thought was just okay, but after playing it I think there was some real merit here. It gets fairly large, and its stock generation isn't staple to an honor-verse requirement like most are. So I think this is a fairly good card overall. It is locked to choice triggers however, so keep that in mind if you choose to look into it. Lastly, we have this level 0 Ruby. You top check X to add anything including climaxes. This card is great utility and definitely think we'll see a lot of play. Red has quite a bit of offer when delving into this set, however some of the cards are stuck behind the Akane paywall, so keeping that in mind while building. First we have this level 0 I. This card overall is great. Being a reverse bomb and being able to filter out your hand and some minor deck milling and stuff like that are pretty good overall. It can also send itself to memory for minor deck compression, so it also is, kind of a help for the memory deck as well. Next we have the level 1 Kana combo. This card offers some fairly decent sculpting capabilities and hand advantage, so overall I think this card is fairly strong. This card is a good plussing combo, especially within the Akane core. You can, however, look into playing this within other cores luckily, but you do have a climax specific brainstorm that if you do want to take advantage of that, you will have to play the Akane top end to do so. Moving on, we have the Aqua Ruby early play. This is your typical full board early play healer. Nothing too crazy is going on here, but it's a great inclusion for the Akane core and also any red focus decks you could be building. The Kana level 0 Brainstorm is really strong. Having the ability to potentially save a character on every turn is already pretty good, and then it's also a mill 5 rest self salvage Brainstorm. The biggest issue with this card though is that it is locked to you having to have the level 1 combo Kana and the level 3 Akane combo as well. When you use the Brainstorm's ability, it searches for specifically their climaxes, so you cannot play this anywhere else unless you're just using it for the top effect, which at that point I think you're just better off playing any other Brainstormer in the set. Next up we have the level 0 Kana. This card being an Aqua clone already makes it great as a potential +2 engine, and it also has a boss's orders type effect staple to it, which also gives some great additional utility to this card as well. Next up we have the level 3 Ruby. This card is great even when not played in memory decks. Its lone ability of sacrificing a character to freely salvage any climax is very good, and to ensure like your combos and things like that for looping or your combo for your finisher. Kind of like the Memcho level swap, you probably won't see this as more than like a one of probably in most cases, but it is an incredible utility piece either way. The level 0 Ruby is an on-death drop search and is a minor hand filter. With this set having multiple ways of sacrificing characters, you can make great use out of this even without crashing it or having your opponent kill it. Next is the level 3 Aqua. It gets fairly big on attack, but the main reason you play this is its double level down. This effect is extremely strong and can be crucial for getting reverses or disrupting your opponent. Same thing as the Ruby, you probably won't play it more than a one of, but that one copy is more than enough to be problematic for your opponent. The level 3 Kana is a fairly cheap restander, offering an additional packet of damage if you are unable to triple your finisher. Overall, this card is fine, but it is perfect for the certain situations when it is needed. Next up is the level 0 Kana Drop Salvage. It being your typical drop salvage is good enough, but it also having the ability to stock charge itself as well. This can be very useful when needed, and it not being mandatory also helps a lot as well if you need to keep it around for some reason. Last up is the level 1 Aqua 02. This card's effect has seen significant success in virtually any set it has been printed in, and is a card that can take extra advantage of any of your other characters that have death effects or something like that, like the Ruby Drop Surge or the Eye Reverse Bomb. It being a level 1 is a bit of a downside now that they seem to be, for some reason, printing this on level 0s for whatever it's worth, but that does not mean that this effect isn't powerful enough to at least consider. With our next color, blue, we get some great utility and engine pieces to look into for sure. And with an extremely potent finisher as well, this is probably the strongest represented color in the set. First, we have the Aqua Riki. It's your typical Riki effect, but the clocking part is from the graveyard rather than the top of deck, giving you more selectivity with your effects for leveling, color, etc. This card is very strong and is going to be consistent 2 to 4 of in any deck, with higher counts being more common. Next we have the 1-0 Akane. This is a fairly big attacker on attack that can also later sacrifice itself to save an additional character. This effect is an extremely vital utility piece that can help you loop in your combos, generating additional hand advantage as well. This card you will probably see as a 2 to 4 of as well. Finally, we move on to the big bad of the set, the Akane level 3 finisher. This combo is extremely powerful, representing upwards of 12 packets of damage to your opponent. It's not unreasonable to kill your opponent from early level 2 with this combo. It can also heal upwards of 9 damage and is sometimes even a decompression tool. This card is extremely devastating and can kill you out of nowhere, so prepare for it as much as possible when you can. The Aqua Akane level 0 is an optional mill 3 with the helmet effect added to it as well. The card is a great graveyard utility piece and can get you out of some pretty rough situations. The Akane level 1 combo is an odd one, but felt like it was strong enough to at least mention here. This card's combo triggers even when it's in the back row and is modular, meaning you can stack up to 4 searches onto one character and pump that same character potentially upwards of 6,000 power. One thing to keep in mind is that its abilities cannot be put onto themselves, so you probably want something like the Aqua 02 or something like that you can make really big, guarantee reverse, and generate an immense amount of advantage with. Moving on to the 2-1 Aqua, this is a power assist to the front row center slot, has the ability to move another one of your characters to an open front row position, and can rest itself by discarding Akane Door Climax or the Akane Plants Climax to salvage any character, offering some climax and hand filtering as well. The 2-1 Akane on placement looks at 4 to add a character just by discarding a card, then can sacrifice itself to bounce a character back to your opponent's hand. This card is very good when paired with some big power characters, so you can break down boards, even boards like Mirren. Next up, we have the 3-2 Aqua Finisher. It's your typical pay 2, ditch 2, burn 2, but can also top check X to add anything as well, making both abilities on this card being usable in a number of situations. The 3-2 Akane allows for effectively 8 copies of your finisher. It replaces itself and designates power on play, then on the combo swaps itself out for one of your other 3-2 Akanes in your graveyard, gives it additional power, and makes it so your opponents can't play events during that character's battle. Meaning those pesky anti-damage or tap counter events that your opponents sometimes play don't affect you anymore. The Akane level 0 is a climax swap that searches your library to search for the climax. This offers some extra utility if you haven't seen a specific climax you need, and is also stockless as well. Last up is the Akane early play. This early plays if you have 2 or less climaxes in grave, and when it enters allows you to sacrifice a character to draw 2 cards. This gives you some extra hand advantage and helps you dig towards cards you need. Definitely not a bad one to test out. Here we will be briefly looking at some of the honorable mentions I brought up earlier. These are cards I think are playable enough to at least showcase, or they have a utility element that is strictly to one thing that isn't the meta deck. Kana is an early play, but personally I think the Memcho early play from set 1 is much better than this one, but this could be something to still look into. The 2-1 Ruby is an off finisher at level 2, but is an Icy Tail on reverse, so it isn't as reliable as other options. The 10i is a great inclusion to specifically the memory core. I would probably not consider this for any other core other than that. If you are playing the Trial Deck I combo, then you 100% want to play this 2-1i. It's free value generation and can scale really well, and it combos on the same climax as the TDI. Next is the 1-1 Ruby. This is a decent inclusion into the memory deck, allowing you to send the level 0i to memory if you have 2 or less memory. Outside of the memory deck, however, this card is just not good enough. The 2-1 Ruby counter is a recurring counter, meaning you can loop the same card over and over again. This is fairly stock intensive, however, but it could be what you need to protect your characters. The 2-1 Taiki gets big, but also has a top check 4 to add specifically climaxes, so it provides some minor mill and hand filtering while digging for a climax. If the 3-2 Ruby that sacks for a climax isn't to your liking, maybe this is. The level 0 Taiki is a cost 0 spawner from deck on placement by sacking a character and paying 1 stock. This is a decent card, but I think other cards outperform this most of the time. The level 0 Akane can spawn out any character for no stock as long as you are higher or equal to the level of the card that you want to play, just by discarding a card and sacrificing itself. I think this card is currently mediocre at best. But if we get a finisher or something that can really make use of this in a later set down the line, this could be something that becomes very powerful very easily. The level 2 and level 0 Akanes are climax filters. If you are looking for this type of effect for your pants triggers, for example, these are 2 decent options to consider. Next up is the Sumiyaki counter, which is a neg-soul counter but sacrifices a character to do the effect, meaning you can get some weird and neat interactions here and also potentially stop a little extra damage as well. And that's basically all the cards I wanted to mention from the set. There are some other cards I didn't mention, but I am going to just leave those up for you guys to explore. Now, let's move on to some starter deck lists. All these lists will be also in the description if you want to go more in depth into them. First up is the main deck from the set, Akane Kana. This deck is going to be a force of nature within our format, and its kill potential is really high. You have so much utility accessible that there is very little that can match it. If you are not building this set or are not queuing this deck into an event, make sure you know this deck and how it works inside and out so you can try to take advantage of its weaknesses. Next up is 8 choice. This is probably my favorite way to play Oshi No Ko, as it's fun, strong, and features a lot of my favorite character. This deck is still quite good in the current metagame and gained a lot of new toys to throw in and test out. I like this core a lot, but will say Akane Kana is the stronger deck in most situations. Lastly is a more budget-friendly fun build that has circulated in Japan. This is an 8-door memory. If you have played Day I Became a God or Special Week from Musume, the finisher of this deck operates in a similar fashion. This deck is decent, but definitely falls short when compared to the other two, but still can be fun as well. I personally have not delved too much into this deck personally, but if this interests you or you like Ruby, for example, maybe try this out. I think that covers just about everything for my set review of Oshi No Ko Vol.2. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.